Beauty is many things, and I think throughout your life it changes. So in my 20s, beauty was different for me. It was all about the way someone looked. But after going through cancer, I found that a lot of it came from within, and I find that beauty now for me is about empowering others and courage, bravery, just being yourself, even if that person isn't what society thinks it should be. It's about really connecting with what you were meant to be. Beauty is lots of different things in lots of areas of your life. Cancer has changed my perception of beauty by making me realise that my body isn't who I am. Before I got cancer, my body was who I was, and then I realised that in my darkest times, it was actually more comforting realising that the energy within me was connecting with others. I look at my body as more of a carriage now, which takes me through life. It sounds really cliche and a little bit silly, but it feels like I'm an energy within a carriage going through life and connecting people, connecting with others, connecting with an energy rather than this being me.
Hiya guys! So I'm on a body positivity breast cancer awareness run this morning, and oh my god, look at the weather! It's gorgeous!
So my name is Louise Butcher, and I was diagnosed with lobular breast cancer in 2022. I found a small, tiny little thickening on my left breast. It's funny I went like that because I haven't got a breast there. And it was connected to like something else, but I couldn't, it just felt a little bit weird, like a cyst. I went up to the breast clinic and they did an ultrasound. I just remember seeing the sonographer's face, and her face just changed, and she was like, I can see 5 areas that look abnormal. And actually at the time I was training for the virtual London Marathon, which I carried on doing throughout both surgeries and radiotherapy because I had to have some kind of focus. And then I ran a virtual London Marathon 6 weeks after my second mastectomy and during the week of radiotherapy. Since then, I have run topless for the last 10 months, pretty much every day around my village and across the country, to send the message that if you decide not to have reconstruction, then you haven't lost your femininity or your strength, and you don't need to have breasts put back somewhere because society says that you have to. In April this year, I am running the London Marathon, and I'm going to run that topless. I'm so excited about the London Marathon because I have been chosen to run for Breast Cancer Now, which is an amazing charity for breast cancer, obviously, with the research and all they do for the mental health side and supporting women. I'm just so excited that I'm going to be running with loads of other runners who are all doing the same thing, in the fact that they're raising for charity, empowering people, and just the amazing support that there's going to be there.
Right, here we are, Lou and I, Tarka Trail. We are running with the one and only Louise Butcher. Look at her. Topless runner, look at her. Fantastic. Woo! As we get older, a lot of us stand a huge chance of getting breast cancer. And Louise has had a double mastectomy. She runs every single day, topless, to raise awareness for breast cancer. Don't you, Louise?
I do, I love it. It's so empowering, isn't it?
It's fantastic. We're in our undies and this is empowerment.
This is empowerment.
It really feels good, I have to say. So yeah, see the other side.
So my life before cancer was very colourful. I had health anxiety, eating disorder. kind of felt like there was a lot going on in my head and it needed to come out somewhere, so that it used to come out in a negative way. And that's why I started running. Just take me to an open space where I can breathe. The running really helped, because that was when I went out and started to realise that if I could get it out in a physical way and if I could run, I felt like I was alright. If I was running, I wasn't dying of something, I wasn't ill, I wasn't having a heart attack. And the more I did that, the more confidence I got. The irony of that was that halfway through me training for the marathon, obviously, is when I was diagnosed with cancer. So it was kind of a bittersweet thing, but the cancer actually turned that round on its head, and the health anxiety disappeared. Is I stop sometimes and I do like exercises, because you get to do exercises when you've had breast cancer, so that you get all your arm movement. There was not one point where I thought I really need to have reconstruction, even though the surgeon said I think you should, because it might affect your mental health in the future, which I found quite strange. But I also didn't feel like, because society expects a woman to have breasts, that I needed to put something back there. They were my breasts that got took away. And if I had something put back there, it wasn't me, it wasn't my breasts. It was like I'm having something put back there for other people, or to feel like I'm feminine again.
Oh, isn't that your period?
And I also couldn't see anybody out there living a life after surgery when they had flat closure. I didn't see anybody out there. I mean, you see pictures of people, but it's all very hidden. And I just wanted to see somebody out there who chose not to have reconstruction, who was living a life, who was positive, who was finding positives in flat closure surgery, who was happy with it. And I couldn't find anybody, so I thought, I'll be that person. Hiya guys, I've just woke up. It's 5:30 on Sunday the 21st of April 2024, and it's marathon day, yay! I'm so excited. A little bit tired because I didn't get much sleep, but still excited. And then I'll put the top on, and then I'm going to throw this one away. When I'm like this, when I feel proper, I feel confident. It's weird. When I'm like this, I'm like, I can do it. I can do it. It's weird.
I suppose it's a bit like, you know, if you like study, they say you better study at a desk.
Yeah.
Because that's where you've studied and you've built that foundation. I suppose that's how you're
It's the same. So when I was doing teaching, it's like you get into a certain mode, and the mode is this now.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's because you adapt to it. It's everything you do.
That's it.
I'm just going to shove that in the back.
Yeah.
I just want to be ready.
Ready to go. Cool. Mary! Yeah.
Me, I look like I'm going. This is really good sweatband, because when you get hot, it stops holding your hair.
Yeah.
But I look really silly to me, like I care. I can drop that off now. Done. I'm not stopped talking about it.
This is really good. Get it out. Get the nerves out.
It's nerves, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know it isn't, because I was talking. Oh my god. What am I doing?
Should we head down?
Yeah, let's do it. I feel most empowered when I'm running. A runner to me is strength, power, resilience, discipline, The breast cancer and the losing my breasts initially felt like vulnerability, sadness. I felt like there was a lot of pity coming towards me because I'd lost my femininity. So when I put the two together, they were both questioning and challenging each other. So the strength and the vulnerability became one. And that's when I'm running, I feel most empowered because I'm passing on those messages.
So I'm in the London Marathon, woo! So I'm on mile 20, 6.2 to go. 1 more mile, guys! 1 mile! 1 mile!
So I've been through breast cancer, I haven't got any breasts, but I've got this resilience and I've got this power and I've got this strength and I'm running, and I'm also showing it to everybody else. So oh my God, when I'm running, yeah, that empowerment is just driving me on.
Hi Louise. What is your message to the world?
So my message to the world is always be your authentic self. I always looked that if you were on your deathbed, what would be your biggest regret? And it was not being your authentic self, living a life through what you think other people value or through what other people think you should be. And I think that would be my biggest regret. And that's what I think is really important. Not even if you stand out, even if you're ridiculed, even if you believe it, you've got to do it, because otherwise that's going to probably be your biggest regret in life.
The stones are alive. The beating bracken covered like an encrusted heart. They call. Dolmens, menhirs, quoits, calms, portal chambers, stone rows, stone circles, each with their own distinctive melody.
I think it's that feeling of being connected to something that's so much older than you, and the fact that I can stand in a space that would have been really familiar to my ancestors all that time ago.
I think I'll say the word connection.
I think the strongest word for me is remembering.
Ancient stone sites have intrigued us for millennia. Growing up in Cornwall, I heard tales and folklore. 9 maidens turned to stone for dancing, Pied Pipers and giants. I've always harboured a curiosity towards these sites, and through my journey, hope to uncover the wisdom that these stones hold for us in the modern world, alongside reconnecting with my Cornish heritage and identity. Beginning in West Penwith, which contains the greatest concentration of standing stones and prehistoric sites than any other part of the British Isles. Boscawen Un, or Boscanin, is a Bronze Age stone circle consisting of 19 upright stones in an ellipse with a distinctive leaning middle stone. 18 of the stones are hewn from granite, with the 19th stone made of quartz. The name Boscanin derives from the Cornish word bos for farmstead and scawen for elder or elderberry tree. I'm meeting with Elizabeth Dale, author of The Cornish Bird.
My name's Elizabeth Dale. I'm a Cornish writer, blogger, and I also have a podcast as well. I write under the name The Cornish Bird, and I've been writing my blog now for about 8 years, all about all kinds of wonderful aspects of local history.
What started your love for exploring ancient sites?
So it all really comes from my father, actually. He has a real interest in some of the ancient sites in Cornwall, and when I was a kid, if we ever had a day away, he would take us either down here on Penwith or up on Bodmin Moor, and we'd go tramping through the undergrowth looking for some big rock or other. And he was the one that really fostered my love for it. I first visited Boscannon back in the 90s, and it was quite different then. It was very overgrown in the centre. It's been cleared a lot since then, and that's fab because obviously you can see the site much better these days. What they've discovered quite recently is there are actually some carvings on the sort of inner face of that stone. In 2015, a guy called Tom Goska scanned the whole stone with like photogrammetry scanners, and they'd initially been thought that these carvings were of axe heads, but they've now decided that they're actually feet. And they're really hard to pick out with your eye, but you can see there's one foot just there, and the other foot is just there. And there are two sort of lumps above, which are perhaps interpreted as ladies' boobies.
Oh.
So it's a fascinating part of this circle.
Why do you think people are so drawn and fascinated to these ancient stones?
I think part of it is the mystery that surrounds them. I mean, everybody has got so many questions, and there's so many unanswered questions, I suppose, about these sites, and there's so many myths and legends that are attached to them as well. And they're always sort of in beautiful places in the countryside. They're really calm and quiet, and kind of meditative spots, and a lot of people just love them for those reasons. And of course there's the archaeological interest as well. Just the sheer age of them, I think, is incredible.
Next, I visit Lanyon Coit to speak to James Kitto.
My name's James Kitto. I'm the chair of CASPAN, the Cornish Ancient Sites Protection Network. I was born in Penzance. Much of my ancestry is here in West Penwith, and this is where my heart beats the loudest. It all began when I was about 10 years old, and my primary school headmaster and teacher at the time, Mr. Tony Rule, did a project on ancient Cornwall with our class. And he brought us down here to West Penwith to visit some of the ancient sites, and it just lit a fuse for me, a passion that's stayed with me ever since. I was also very lucky. I had a family that were very supportive in my interests. Grandparents and my great uncle used to drive my brother and myself around to different sites so we could visit and photograph them. And actually my grandparents lived at Lanyon Farm, and I've actually got a photograph of them here with the Coit from about 1903. So passion that's in my DNA, I think.
Yeah.
I ask how Caspin came to be.
It was born back in 1997 when a group of concerned individuals got together following an attack on one of the stones of the Mary Maiden Stone Circle. Someone tried to pull it up. So it became a charitable trust in the year 2000, and that also followed a couple of fire attacks on Lanyon Coit here and the Menham Toll. So Casper's work was really to protect, preserve and promote West Cornwall's ancient sites. I think because they're so ancient, they give us a connection with our ancestors from generations ago. Most of the time I visit these sites, I don't see anybody else. You're just there on your own. It gives you that sort of mindfulness. I think really just to treat them with respect, to leave only footprints, take only photographs. And we've got a saying in Caspin, which is, don't change the site, let the site change you.
Menham Toll, Cornish for Stone of the Hole, stands as an enduring testament to time, with roots believed to reach back to the Neolithic or Bronze Ages. Some believe it to be the remnant of a stone circle or an entryway to an ancient burial chamber. It is rich with tales of magical rituals and healing practices. Hold stones have been associated with fertility and healing because of the energies believed to be stored within their granite bodies. Children were passed through the stone as an act of baptism, as well as to cure illness such as rickets, passing through the hole 9 times against the sun. Next on my journey, we head to Bodmin Moor. Among a scattering of derelict tin mines in the wilds of Bodmin Moor, just outside the quaint village of Minions, stands not one but 3 ancient stone circles whose name comes from a local Cornish legend. The hurlers, legend states, that men were playing a game of the traditional Cornish hurling when they were magically transformed into stones as punishment for playing on a Sabbath. Furthermore, just west of the 3 circles, 2 large menhirs stand like gateposts and are known as the Pipers, yet more rebellious locals, 2 musicians playing their pipes on a Sabbath. It's likely that this Bronze Age site was of much more significance, being used for ritual and ceremony, in other words, activities deemed pagan and unacceptable to early Christians, hence the cautionary tale. Similar legends aren't uncommon in Cornwall. The surrounding countryside is peppered with other ancient ceremonial remains in the shape of cist, barrows and standing stones. We continue along a scenic path that leads to a windswept rocky tor. The Cheese Ring is a curious formation that has intrigued geologists for centuries. Comprised of a set of granite stones stacked on top of each other at Stowe's Hill on Bodmin Moor, the Cheese Ring measures 20 foot tall and its granite slabs are as large as 30 feet wide. Its distinctive shape has been debated over time by experts, but is thought to be the result of weather erosion over hundreds, if not thousands of years. King Doniat Stone, Main Maigarten Doniat, and the other half stone are parts of early Celtic medieval crosses dated from the late 9th century, which historians believe was a monument to the last known Cornish king. King Doniat was also known as Doniath and Dundath. They are said to mark the place where he was laid to rest more than 1,000 years ago. This stone and the one next to it are the only surviving examples of 9th century stone crosses in Cornwall. Coscuis is a nature retreat based on ancient wisdom earth energies, featuring stone circles amongst acres of woodland. I speak with Trudy Holden about the site.
My name is Trudy Holden. I'm also known as Wild Samsara for my business, which supports women to connect to their natural cycles. So that's very much womb healing and connecting to their bodies. A big part of that work is holding ceremonies, particularly around the Wheel of the Year, to connect people back to the cycles of nature. And as our sacred ancient stones are a big part of the alignment and connection that we have throughout the Wheel of the Year, we always hold these here. The stones that are behind us are known as the Neolithic Long Barrow here at Coscuis. The family here that have lived on this land generationally have done excavations and found lots of arrowheads and offerings. The stones themselves have been found on the land, and through dowsing and through kind of mapping the land and recreating and remembering the history of it, the stones themselves have been replaced in position. So here at the sacred sites at Coscuis, we know and we've connected to the spirits and the guardians and the shamans that are protectors of each of the sites. So we always make an offering to these spirits and to these guardians and give our thanks and gratitude. And often we'll ask permission if we're doing a ceremony, we'll ask and honour them. When we enter the stones, we always give an offering to these spirits. I think we have moved so far in our kind of capitalist society, and we've realised that actually there's some ancestral intelligence that we've kind of lost along the way. We're really seeking some of those rites of passages and ceremonies that our ancestors really celebrated, and our ancient sites are a real remembrance of that. We were in union with them, so we didn't just see them as an external part of ourselves, especially the Merry Maidens and places where we actually did rituals where we used our bodies and the stones in ritual. It wasn't just that we went to a place, and that's kind of how we treat nature now. We just see it as an external thing we visit, and actually it is us. Looking back at some of these sites, especially the Neolithic, and realising that actually back in those days when our ancestors were creating these spaces, we were more in a matriarchal society, and actually we worshipped the goddess, the portal of creation. So a lot of our sacred sites actually emanate that concept of a womb, where life comes in and out of in this world. A lot of the cairns, a lot of the long barrows, a lot of the circles were literally emanating that kind of stepping into a portal. For me as a womb priestess, I work with the medicine wheel of the womb, and that is literally like a kind of a map, a portal of the earth as a living, breathing mother who has birthed us all. And this circle behind us is literally a carbon copy of that. So I really see that as, I imagine it being like a womb dark space that our ancestors would have gone into, placed their offerings of fertility, of wanting things for the next lunar cycle, and then coming back out of it feeling rebirthed and renewed.
Tucked away in a field just off the B3297, the Nine Maidens rest. Local legend has it that 9 maidens were turned to stone as punishment for dancing on a Sunday. In her book, Pagan Cornwall, Cheryl Staffron suggests the connection to the number 9 runs deep in our ancient Celtic past. 3 times 3, the triple goddess of maiden, mother and crone. Antiquarians Robert Hunt and William Hall suggest this site may indicate the graves of 9 sisters or nuns, given its other name, the 9 Virgins. There are, however, not 9 stones present. Possibly a stone or 2 are now incorporated into the field wall. These stones hold stories of autonomy. To be turned to stone, these monuments must have been seen to be first living. At one time, there must have been a belief they had life and energy in them. My journey across these ancient sites has taught me that although the purpose of many of these sites still remain a mystery, these sites are places where boundaries and borders dissolve, where we can feel ourselves as part of the world, away from the rush of modern life. These are spaces to reconnect with the wisdom of our ancestors, the wisdom of the land. The stones, like the natural granite cast up from the earth by nature, defy the centuries. To stand beside them on the heights of West Penwith is to become an astronaut in time. The present vanishes, centuries dissolve. Here in the lichened stones is the essence of memory itself. Belief in immortality, man's answer from the beginning to the challenge of death. Daphne du Maurier, The Claw of Cornwall.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I've got 21 tattoos, which is exactly how old I am, which is quite an interesting little thing. I don't know, it's kind of nice, I like that. I turned 18 in lockdown, and as soon as lockdown was lifted, I booked an appointment, and I got 2 fairly small ones for my first tattoos. I got some Van Gogh sunflowers on the back of my arm, and I got a Dirty Dancing tattoo on my ribs. They were pretty painless, to be fair. They're just very fine line. So me, thinking I'm the dog's bollocks, decided to go onto Instagram after my appointment and find some other tattoo artists in my area. And I found someone who does very American traditional tattoos. A couple of weeks later, I walked into this tattoo studio and I was just met with a really weird vibe that I just didn't... I don't know, something was off straight away. I wore a split skirt, so it like came undone basically on the sides, so it would be like easy access to get the tattoo without me having to remove any clothing. As I was getting a needle stabbed into my body, I was getting touched up by all the other male artists, not the actual tattoo artist himself, but all the artists in the studio and the male friends were coming to look at my tattoo and see how well I was doing. I love the tattoo, which is the most upsetting part, because every time I look at it, it's just kind of like a constant reminder of what it is. I just think having that happen to me at such a young age has really just put me off having tattoos besides the two people I go to now. When you're in a vulnerable position like you are when you're getting tattooed, it's important to feel safe, and it's important to know that the person who is tattooing you, you trust. It doesn't matter like if they're good at their job and they're an amazing artist, they could be an absolute arsehole. In this documentary, I'll be talking to Mo about her journey as a female tattoo artist, and just letting you guys know that this is what it should look like. And if you're not getting this, then go elsewhere to get your tattoos.
I always hate getting on these.
No, with style and grace. You're good.
On my side, yeah?
Yeah, if you just lie on your side, sort of with your arm across your body.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll move you when I need to, if you're comfy. Okie dokes. Are you ready? I've been working here for 3 years and tattooing for like nearly 2.5.
Nice.
I started working on the desk here like June 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. I'm the only woman in a tattoo shop with 3 other guys.
Yeah.
And I feel sort of like day in, day out. Treat people with a lot of respect and dignity, sort of regardless to their gender and background and stuff. So it shouldn't matter regardless, but I think that like we're all parents.
Yeah.
We're all sort of like, you know, the guys are just chill dads, you know?
Yeah.
They're just happy to hang out.
Yeah, I get that
for
vibe.
some people, especially women, like it only takes one bad experience.
Yeah. Is this like something you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, always.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. I applied for like an art course
Yeah.
at Falmouth Uni when I was like 18 and they rejected me. And I don't know, I think you're more insecure when you're young, but that really knocked me.
Yeah.
And I didn't paint or draw anything for about 5 years.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then we got to like lockdown and I just started drawing and painting a lot again. And it was sort of the same sort of time that my daughter started school. She was there sort of like 5 days a week and it just freed up some time for me to sort of pursue it. And yeah, I was very lucky, like I had a really good opportunity and a really good apprenticeship and a lot of guidance and support. You hear some pretty bad stories about apprenticeships, I do count myself very lucky.
Yeah. What did people think when you said you were going to be a tattoo artist?
What people like family and stuff?
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, they were really supportive. I think it's something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I've always been really creative. I think it just made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spent most of my time like in tattoo shops. I don't think anybody was surprised. There are some people that weren't so sure, like my granddad, obviously was of a different generation, he was a bit sort of like, that's not a real job.
I think like the older generation still care, like about tattooed people.
I think that tattoo people are everywhere these days, so I don't think it's such like a shocker to them when they see heavily tattooed people anymore, but I think they definitely still have their opinions.
Yeah. Because I got scoffed at once by an old man. I was wearing a dress, literally in the middle of summer, this was last year, and he scoffed at me, and I was like, what the fuck?
I've had like little old ladies sometimes be like, "Oh, you tried washing that pen off your legs, dear?" And I'm like,
he looked me up and down, and I was like, "Okay, crikey."
Yeah, I think everyone's got their opinions, but I think when it comes to your body, like the only opinion that really matters is yours, I guess.
And I read this thing about dismissing a woman's tattoo is dismissing half their life story.
Yeah,
and I was like, the way you put it like that, like it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Like although my tattoos might not have a meaning, they're still like quite a large
maybe they
part
don't have
of
like
me.
a visual meaning or something, but they mean something.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you're happy and you're treating your body in a way that's making you feel good, wherever your body weight, skin build up, all of that sort of stuff, that's just where you're supposed to be.
But I'm actually so scared to get my stomach out, even to get it tattooed.
Oh, we can do it just two of us. If you're feeling nervous, we can put like a little screen up, come in on a day. I'll come in on like a closed day for you if you want. We can like schedule to do it when no one's here.
It's really weird because I really enjoy getting tattooed, but I'm always so anxious for the build up.
And I think that's just from having had a bad experience.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know how like when people get tattoos, they kind of just like tell you everything. And sometimes I've left here thinking, oh my god, I've said way too much. So I think the first time I met you, I like pretty much told you my entire family like story. You can say what you want and you don't feel too judged by it all. Like a lot of people see like tattoo as like getting therapy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. I think you're put in a position where obviously you're handing over a lot of trust to somebody who's going to permanently alter your appearance and then, you know, put you through pain in the process.
Yeah.
Because you make yourself vulnerable. Yeah, and I don't take that lightly. Yeah. It's a big responsibility.
Is it like a scary responsibility?
I think sometimes you get anxious customers and they're anxious in the way that they're not maybe 100% sure about the design that they're going for or things like that. That can be quite scary. I think those are times where maybe like I'll suggest postponing the appointment or you know, set some time aside for redraws and stuff. You want them to be 100% sure about what they're getting. There is such a thing as like a bad time to get tattooed. I think you've got to be physically and mentally in the space to go through a lot of pain. How are you feeling? Is it alright?
Yeah, it's actually alright to be fair.
Cool.
You know what? I get a lot of weird comments about how like it was when I was in the dating scene. A lot of people thought because I had tattoos I was freaky.
Oh my god, when I was on Tinder it was like, oh, I bet you're really kinky, I bet you're really into pain. Do you got any tattoos in like hidden places where you can't see them?
Oh,
just, like,
I hate that.
You fetish guys.
I hate that so much. And the amount of people that would just message me being like,
are you kinky?
Yeah, and I'm like, no, leave me alone. But it's so weird because like people either think they're kinky or like make you look masculine. Like I've been told I look butch with my tattoos.
Yeah, I have as well.
Yeah.
I had a guy once that was like, oh, you must have like major daddy issues because you like big strong men hurting you and stuff like that. I was just like instant block.
I've had that.
Goodbye. Yeah, some people treat tattooed people in a way that you just wouldn't. Like people are like, oh, I'm just gonna touch you and like ask to look at you.
I was at a bar getting a drink and the bartender reached over the bar and grabbed my arm and inspected my tattoos.
Yeah, that's
and I was like,
too.
Do you remember that time when we were waiting for the Sentinels to drive and we stood outside?
And you got catcalled by that guy walking past.
Yeah.
I was not having it.
I panic. I just feel like,
No, I think I just went into like mum mode.
Yeah.
Just like, please don't talk to my customer, leave her alone. I wouldn't usually like speak for someone like that, but I could tell you were feeling really anxious. You can tell when like women are in like freeze mode. Oh, I can think of one kind of weird experience I had as the only girl working in a shop for the men.
Yeah.
This guy came in and he wanted his penis tattooed, and I was like, that's cool, like, you know, we could organise to do that and have like a screen put up and do that maybe on a day of the week where we don't have loads of customers in for your privacy and stuff. But he specifically wanted me to do it, having not seen any of my work, so it wasn't based on sort of like, I like your style.
Yeah.
It was just sort of walking into a shop full of tattooists and intentionally asking the only woman to do it, so I did politely decline. But...
Also, can you tattoo over stretch marks?
Yeah. It can hurt a bit more because stretch marks sort of have the same skin texture as like scars, like that very thin scar tissue type skin. So it's like my tummy's full of stretch marks from having dot. It's a bit slower going because you want to be really gentle on that skin. I wouldn't suggest trying to get a design that's made up of like entirely straight lines and stuff. Right, my lovely. Let's give it a wash. I'm pretty sure that it's all done. Right, don't go up really fast because you've been lying down for ages, but just get up slowly, have a little look in the mirror, take some photos, and then I'll wrap it up.
That looks so cool. I get so red, don't I?
It's because you're fair, you know. You can see it a lot more on very pale skin.
That's so cool. I really like that you can see it when I'm just like that as well.
Yeah, you've still got a nice space sort of there if you wanted anything.
Yeah.
And then on the front as well, that's like a decent space there. You want me to put second skin on it? The Dermalites?
Yeah, I can do.
Yeah? I'll put a nice big bit on that sort of wraps around and it will definitely stay on. Do you remember the drill with this stuff? Yeah. I'll give you a little aftercare sheet to take with you anyway.
So I now have 22 tattoos, and the experience I had with Mo was as lovely as ever, and talking to her about her experiences as a female tattoo artist and someone who has tattoos was very interesting to say the least. I think hearing her stories, which were very similar to mine, was kind of worrying, but also very interesting to see how we've both been treated as women with tattoos. And I just think maybe times are changing and there are more and more tattooed women out there, so people are just going to have to get used to it. And as I said in the documentary, like whilst I was interviewing her, like not many of my tattoos have meanings, but this one does. And the meaning is that my late granddad was a very keen gardener, and one of his flowers that he used to grow in the garden were bleeding hearts. So I think if someone was to say something negative about this tattoo, it would genuinely upset me because it has got such a sentimental meaning. And tattoos don't have to have meanings either. Like a lot of mine just look really cool, or the time I was getting them, when I look at them now, it reminds me of a time when I may have been going through something, and it reminds me that I've got through it and I'm a better person because of it. And I think it's just added art at the end of the day. It's an added accessory to who I am, and it builds on my personality, and it just makes me who I am as a person. So maybe next time when you see someone tattooed and you think, oh, they've got a lot of tattoos, maybe they've gone through something that you haven't, and just keep an open mind. And hopefully this documentary will be able to change people's perspective, especially on tattooed women.
So apart from that one, I've done all the ones on this arm, haven't I?
Yeah. Just like take my arm off and use it as like a portfolio.
You can donate it to me when you die.
I have decided to go sober. Since coming to university, I've really struggled with the amount of alcohol that I drink. I've been in complete states where I don't remember the night before. I've been hovered over a toilet bowl being sick too many times. And all of that because I don't know how to deal with social anxiety. I've been using alcohol as a crutch to deal with social anxiety, and it's been made aware to me that this just has to change. So, I'm starting a 30-day sobriety challenge. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Archie Stevens, a student at Falmouth University. I hope to learn coping mechanisms for my social anxiety, and I hope to be able to confront this. I know the next 30 days aren't going to be easy, but I think this is a personal development that needs to happen now. And I am going to document every step of the way. A really great way to kind of help me through these 30 days is to write in a journal. That's what I've started to do, and already it feels like it's good to get something off your chest, you know. It's good to feel like you're not alone by doing that, you know. I think by 30 days, I will be in a much better, much more comfortable place when it comes to kind of reflection on my own mental health. So that's a really positive thing. This has been an interesting journey so far, finding new ways to cope without alcohol. And as much as I'm working hard to cope my own way, I know I can't do this alone. So I've reached out to two friends, both who have had their own experiences with sobriety, Emily Stewart and Naomi Smith.
The whole thing of like, are you going to go sober for October? I was like, do you know what, I'm going to do it. And leading up to October, I was drinking quite a lot. I was drinking probably every other day. And that was quite calm for me. Definitely like being a student down here, there's not much else to do besides drink. When there's like a movement like going sober for a whole month, I'm always going to do it now. I think it's just something that I should have done a long time ago.
Well, originally, like in first year, I feel like there's a big stigma around drinking, and especially during COVID, I think people like me didn't go clubbing before we went to uni, so there was a big like shock when we had to suddenly start drinking loads. I think there shouldn't be a big pressure around it.
A night out for me, it used to mean getting absolutely hammered before I even left the house. I would go on sober nights out and I would drink just like lemonades, cokes. It was interesting doing the sober nights out when everyone around you is absolutely steaming, because you see a different side to them which you're used to when you're drunk, but when you're sober it's completely different. So I would say the things that I did was I just stuck to it. And you know what, I had more fun. I wasn't anxious. To be fair, I didn't care because everyone around me was drunk, so I could do what I want. I was dancing more. I didn't spend as much, which was great. And I didn't have a hangover the next day, which is gorgeous. When I said that I was going sober, I was met with a lot of negative comments, like, oh, you're not fun anymore, you don't want to come out with us, you're being antisocial. And I was met with a lot of like, well, we shouldn't invite you because you're not going to be drinking. I still took part in the drinking games, but I had a Lucasade instead. Or I had the Coke that they were using for the mixer.
Do you think you can go clubbing sober and just have fun?
I know a lot of people on Instagram, like celebrities and things, or influencers. I know this guy that has gone 4 years sober, but he still goes clubbing because he enjoys it. Because when he's dancing and that, everyone thinks he's drunk, so he can just enjoy himself as much as he wants to. So that's the nice thing, is that technically no one's judging you at the same time because everyone's drunk.
Yeah.
But you're the only one sober.
I'd say find someone who supports you. I had my boyfriend who helped me through it. And he was drinking on nights out and I was staying sober. Throughout the night I'd be like, oh, it'd just be so easy to have a drink now and fit in. He was like, but you're doing it for you. You've got to remember why you're doing it. But I think surrounding yourself with people who won't give you nasty comments and won't judge you for doing something for yourself is important, because there was a lot of times when I was like, oh, I could just give this up right now. But I'm glad I stuck with it, and I think having that one person to help me through it really helped.
Well, I would say if you go out with someone that isn't drinking, I think it's nicer to go to a more casual place, down at pub. So maybe a restaurant that is open till late. I feel like it's a much nicer option because they can have like a hot chocolate or a coffee or a soft drink, whereas if you go to the pub, I feel like there's more pressure to drink alcohol.
So I used to drink every day, all day, because I work in hospitality, so there's a lot of like connection with finishing work, having a drink after work, and then that drink after work ended up going out, and I'd go home and I'd do it again. And so I think with me, I have a better social life now, and I'm more creative in the ways that I want to see my friends. So it's not always going to the pub for a drink. It's, should we go on a walk? Should we go to a cafe? Should we do this? So I think my life has got better in the way that I am with people and I'm sober whilst I'm doing it. When I was drunk, I wasn't my true self and I was a mess. And I think it's helped with my mental health as well, because I would get drunk, say all these things and forget. And then the next morning I'd have this like dread I said something wrong. So now I'm like completely aware of what I say at all times. And it helps my anxiety. Like it just calms me knowing that I know what I've said and when I said it and who I said it to. And I'd wake up the next morning and I'd be so anxious that the only thing I could do was pick up another drink to just carry it on and keep the cycle going. But it got to a point where like I would crack open a can in the morning and I was like, okay, this is a problem. I should probably sort this out. And then that's when like October happened and I was like, I'm just going to cut it all completely.
I'm currently getting ready to go out and meet some friends. And what I'm really nervous for about this is the fact that there's going to be alcohol there. I haven't navigated a social situation since going sober where I really needed to kind of fight the anxiety of being in these social situations. I think today will be a really good chance to put in those coping mechanisms to work. And I know it's not going to be easy, and I know there's going to be moments where I'm feeling extremely anxious, but with the things that I've learned, I'm hoping to be able to navigate this without having to rely on alcohol for the night. We're going to get some food first, so I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to spend time with my friends, but right now I'm really nervous. Before any kind of social interaction, usually I'd have 2-3 pints before I left the house just to calm that nerve and calm that anxiety. But today, obviously being sober, I've had to look at other options to deal with that. I ended up buying a non-alcoholic cider. I'm hoping this, whether it's a placebo effect or whether it's just feeling like a natural behaviour, but I'm hoping this will make me feel a bit calmer, a bit more chill when it comes to leaving the house.
Tonight felt like I was rewriting the script. No more relying on alcohol to ease my nerves or fit in. It's just me, facing my fears head on. And you know what? It's liberating. I'm discovering a side of myself throughout the night that I never knew existed. The version of Archie that doesn't need to drink to have a good time. Sure, there were moments of discomfort.
I have had to take myself away from the situation because I started to feel really anxious and panicky. I think as more people started to get drinks, it was just overwhelming me. I definitely got shaky and definitely got worried. So I just needed to take myself off. I'm gonna go back in a minute, so I'm not gonna let this defeat me. I can do this. I can do this. It's just a setback.
I'm growing, evolving, That's far more exhilarating at this point than any kind of buzz that the alcohol gave me. Tonight felt like I wasn't just navigating a sober social situation. It felt like I was rewriting my narrative. I'm proving to myself that I'm capable of so much more than I ever thought possible. And that is the greatest victory of all of this. I'm on the way back now, and it's been a very, very successful night. Completely sober, and I've had a lovely time.
Waking up without a hangover feels strange, but in a good way. No pounding headaches, no nausea, just a clear sense of accomplishment this morning. It's given me a brand new perspective. It's given me a fresh start, I think. It's funny how we often associate socializing with drinking, but last night felt different. I realized that real connections aren't made from the bottom of the glass, but through genuine conversation. So here's to the sober night out, and here's to embracing discomfort but with growth.
I did it! I've made it to day 30. I didn't know if I'd be able to do it, and it's been 30 days now, and I can successfully say that I managed to stay sober. This has genuinely been such an eye-opening experience for me. I can't pretend like it wasn't really difficult, because it was. After all this, I have made the decision to stay sober. I think the benefits have been really incredible for me. I know that this doesn't mean my anxiety has just disappeared, because as you know, that's not how that works, but this experiment has given me far better ways of dealing with anxiety. It's given me coping mechanisms, it's given me confidence, it's given me a chance to look deeper and understand who I am as a person, and above all that, I like myself more now. So after 30 days, I'm sure you're wondering, what were the benefits? Two main things that I thought I should mention is that, one, my sleep has vastly improved. I am getting better quality sleep. I'm managing to sleep without interruption and sleep longer. I hadn't experienced any of that before cutting out drinking. The other thing that's really kind of improved since starting this experiment is I feel so much clearer. I feel like I'm able to concentrate so much more. I feel like I'm able to kind of open my eyes to myself and how I'm feeling, and all of it's kind of mounted up to feeling like a much stronger person. So from this day on, I am sober for 30 days, and I am dedicating this film to staying sober for a lot longer.